Hey everybody, Void here. I had a couple people on Bluesky saying that they'd be interested in a quick tutorial on how to make your own custom Bluesky feed, as it seems like a lot of people are aware of how to use the existing custom feeds, but not how to make their own. So I am going to go over just super quick, promise it's easy, tutorial on how to do it. You don't have to know any code. You don't have to know really much of anything. All you have to know is to go to this website, skyfeed.app. And then over here, we're gonna, in the service section, leave it to bsky.social. Here, we're gonna put our username, which you wanna make sure that you put your full @ So for me, it's voiddebris.bsky.social, but I know some people have custom links. So if yours is different than bsky.social, make sure you put that in. Now, the app password part is not your password. It is not the password that you use to log into Bluesky. Bluesky has app passwords to allow other apps to access your account without you having to give out your actual password, and you can get rid of the password at any time to prevent it from being used. So in order to get an app password, you have to go into Settings, Privacy and Security, and then App Passwords. In here, you're going to click Add App Password. It's going to make a new one for you. You can just hit Next here, and it'll just auto create that name for the password. It's basically creating separate app login passwords, and it's just a name so you know which is which. Okay, and then in here, it's going to give you a password that you can copy. It will not ever let you see this again. So if you want to have access to this, keep it copied. Okay, you can just hit this little copy button right here and then hit done. And as you can see, the one we just made is right here. And again, we can delete these at any time. We go back over to Skyfeed and we just paste right in here and hit continue. And now, as you can see, this has allowed me to log into my Bluesky account. You can see it over here. And you should have exactly what I'm looking at right here, this visual editor that says hello world and has all these blocks. If you don't have this, you can go and click this little drop down menu over here and click create feed. As you can see, I already have a bunch of feeds I've made over here. I really enjoy making them, and so I've made a few for friends and partners, and just various uses for myself. Over here, you can name your feed whatever you want. We'll just call this test 1. Over here is the input box. So this is what the feed is pulling posts from. Over here is a removal box. So this is just telling it to remove posts that fit certain criteria, such as being a reply. This regex we're actually going to delete for right now because you don't need to know how to do regex in order to make a feed. It does get a little bit into learning some coding information for that. So we're just going to close that for right now. And then sort by. This is our sorting criteria. So you can sort it by date, like count, repost, reply, all these things. You can also sort it by ascending or descending. Personally, I tend to like to sort it by random because it gives the ability to always open up the app to something new. And if you close the app when you open it back up, you don't have to scroll forever to try and find where you were when you left. But I also know some people prefer by creation date so that they can see maybe the most up-to-date posts from their mutuals or something. Now, the easiest thing for creating a feed is to go into this input box and instead of entire network, select tags. Okay? Tags is just going to be the hashtags that people put in their posts. So it won't show up if it doesn't have this hashtag. For example, right here, we can type in cat. And now, as you can see in the feed preview on the right-hand side, all we have is a feed with anything that has the tag cat. Okay? Let's say we also want dogs. We would do comma, no spaces, just the comma, and you don't add the hashtag, and then you put the second thing that you want, which is the dog tag. And here we see dogs have shown up on the feed. If you would like to ensure that there's only something with images, we can go over here and click Add a Block and click Remove, and we can say remove if image count equals 0. And so now we will only see posts that are pictures of cats and dogs. Okay? We can also, for example, remove if the like count is less than a certain number. This, I would say, can be a good way to help filter out bots. Bots are much less likely to get engagement, and you can set the number here even just to 1, right? Even just setting the like count requirement to 1 is probably a good way to help filter out bots from your posts, but there are other things you can do there as well. Other criteria that we can remove for is repost count, reply count, if it has embeds, duplicates, lists of users. Now this one is very, very important, and I would recommend adding moderation lists here. It's also going to be a good way to curate your feed. You can directly take any lists that you follow. For example, if you found bot lists or AI lists or anything else that you want to exclude, you can add them to here and they'll be automatically filtered out from your feed. In order to do that, you're going to go over to Bluesky. You're going to go into your settings, moderation, moderation lists, and then you can click on each of the lists that you're following. And when you click into it, you click these 3 dots and copy link to list. Then you can go back over here and you can just paste it right here. And then it will filter out anyone who is on that list so they won't show up. You can even click your lists and add, it'll just automatically add whatever list you make. So if you have a list of people that you specifically don't want to show up on here, you can easily add that as well. You can add as many blocks as you want to this. Okay, so if we want to remove multiple lists, then we would go over here and click remove list of users, my lists, and then I'd click another list, and now both of these lists are being removed. And you can keep doing that, keep adding more remove blocks to remove more things. Like, so remove if there's no images, remove if the like count is less than 1, right? We can do all of these things to help curate what shows up on this feed. The removal block is really good for that. At base, I would say that this is, what you can do without having to learn even a tiny bit of coding. But I'm gonna show you one more thing, and I promise it's really not as scary as it seems. I'm gonna show you how to use the regex. Okay? And I'm gonna show you specifically how to use it to remove things, but if you would like, you can also use it to include things, which I'll show after. So for the regex box, what it is you're making a list of things for it to search in the posts for. What we want to do is click this invert box, and clicking this means that instead of looking for things to include, meaning it has to have that thing to show up on the feed, it's saying if it has this thing, it's going to take it out of the feed. Okay? Now, there are really only two things you need to know how to put into the regex to use it effectively in order to remove things that you may not want to see on your feed. Okay? And that is learning how to separate out the terms that you want to exclude, and also learning how to tell it where the beginning and the end of a term is. Okay? So, if we were to type in here, for example, AI, we want to filter out anything that has AI. If we simply write it like this, what it's going to do is it's going to filter out anything that has the letters A and I next to them. An example of this would be stairs, okay, or fair, because those have AI next to them, and it doesn't know that you only want the letters AI independently, okay? So in order to tell it that you only want that letters AI independently, what you do is you use backslash, which it should be right above your enter on your keyboard, backslash B. That indicates either the start or the end of a term. Okay. And then we do AI and then we do backslash B again. And now it knows that there must be AI on its own. Now, the unfortunate part of this is, for example, this will also filter out words like AI art. Like that will not be caught because we told it we just want AI on its own. If it was written like this, AI space art, yes, that will be filtered out, but without the space, it won't be filtered out. So a helpful way to deal with this is try and go look up AI art tags, or just even spend a minute thinking about any other AI words you may have seen, anything you want to keep out, and add all of those terms independently. In between each term, and this is important, you have to add a bar. So if you hit Shift and the backslash button, I actually don't know what this is, what this symbol is actually called, but we'll just call it a bar, okay? That indicates that it's the end of that term, and now we're going to do another one. So here we're going to do mid-journey, okay? Now, I'm not using the backslash B because I cannot fathom a world in which mid-journey is going to be used in the middle of other words in a way that I would not want it filtered out. Okay, so we don't want mid-journey in here. And let's say we want to do something where maybe we want it to be able to have more terms at the end of it, but not the beginning. Instead, we could do, for example, backslash AI art. Sorry, backslash B AI art. I can type. And so what this will do is it'll filter out AI art. It'll filter out AI arts, AI artist, um, AI art gallery, AI artwork. It'll filter out all of that. Um, but it won't allow for adding anything onto the beginning of it. Similarly, you can do it the other way around, right? I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for this term, but AI art backslash B would allow anything added to the beginning of the term, but not added towards the end. Okay? So those are the only two things you really need to know in order to be able to add terms to your regex. I highly recommend it. It really helps with being able to curate your feed. Oh, and another good thing is add tags. When you add the hashtag, you don't have to add the backslash B at the beginning. So if we did AI, hashtag AI, you can just leave it like that. Um, and you'll only get hashtags that start with AI that are filtered out like this. So you can go through and filter out a ton of tags too that you don't want. Um, and if you would like to use the regex to filter in, and this is a little bit more iffy and can be a little bit more difficult to properly curate your feed this way. What we would do is we would set our input to the entire network, and then we would add a regex block, which we're going to click on these little bars on the side, and we're going to drag it up so it's right underneath here. We're not going to click invert. We're going to leave it unchecked. And then in here, we're going to type the terms that we want to include. Now, the problem with this is that it gets a lot more difficult to curate what shows up on your feed when you're not just taking tags, when you're filtering for entire words that can show up anywhere in the post. You can even, if you wanted to, add the ability to filter for alt text and links. So you would just click these and then it'll also search the alt text and links. Um, but it does end up taking a lot more time for you having to sit there looking through the feed preview and finding things that you don't want that are showing up in there and then figuring out how to filter them out. If you're not looking for something really intensive, I really recommend just doing the tags input. It'll be so much quicker and so much easier. Um, and you can add everything that's not regex if you want to filter it. You can even make a list of users yourself that you want to remove. And if something ever shows up on your feed that you don't like, just add that user to the list and it'll auto start filtering it out so that you don't have to worry about the regex. But yeah, that is how to make your own Bluesky feed. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I have spent so much time working on these. I really love the ability to make your own feeds on Bluesky. I think it's really fun and really fantastic to see algorithms placed in the hands of users rather in the hands of some faceless corporation. Um, Hope this helps.